the government in the United Kingdom is set to designate the Russian mercenary group Wagner a terrorist organisation. Explaining the decision, the country's Interior Minister, Suella Braverman, described Wagner as a tool of Vladimir Putin's Russia and a threat to global security. To discuss, I'm joined now on the line by Patrick Berry. He's a senior lecturer in security at the University of Bath in the UK, and he's also a former analyst at NATO. Welcome to the programme, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon.
It's been a really turbulent few weeks for the Wagner Group with the death of its leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, and it is unclear now in what form, if any, the group will continue to operate. So why do you think the UK government took this decision now?
Yeah, it's been coming, in fairness. It's been mooted for about a year. And obviously the UK governments have already sanctioned members of the Wagner Group. So it's been a noose that's been tightening around them. I think essentially there's a couple of takes or ways to look at this. Domestically, obviously, it sent a strong message that anyone who is thinking about supporting the group, not only joining them, which is obviously one of the things that can bring a 14-year prison sentence after they've been prescribed, but also anyone supporting them in any way. So from financing, recruiting, holding meetings, even displaying a Wagner banner is now punishable as under prescribed law. So that's one element. I think the other one is also to do with resourcing. Now that they've been prescribed as a terrorist organisation, along with al-Qaeda or Boko Haram and others, of course, the state is able to allocate resources in a different way and in a more intense way should they so need it. For example, the Met Police are involved in the investigating Russian war crimes in Irpin and Bucha especially, and potentially Wagner could have been involved in some of those or in other locations. Maybe this gives them more powers and more resources to investigate that angle too. So it's essentially about, and the final one is about messaging and the ripple-on effect across the international community. If the UK are opening investigation into either, let's say, financing, they can draw on the more support, expertise from their international partners now that it's been prescribed in the UK. So it's got a number of different elements.
That's really interesting. But I think one of the things that's surprising about this is that we don't really associate, Wagner operations with the United Kingdom. Does this suggest that perhaps in the past Wagner was trying to move money maybe through the UK? Would it have impact on sort of financial, its financial capacity to organise itself as well?
Well, we know that London was obviously a transit area as a major international financial hub. And with a substantial number of Russians living here, especially in up until Brexit and then the war again. But it's been a conduit for moving finances around. So you would expect, therefore, that yes, I don't have any inside information, of course, but you would expect that it would have been an area that Wagner were interested in. Now, once they're sanctioned, that becomes much more difficult. This would give the UK government the next level of resource and powers because it now falls under the counter-terrorist financing. So they've got more power to investigate into that. But I think it was coming anyway. Maybe other countries will follow suit now as well. That is an interesting one.
And a broader final thought from you. Several years ago, Russia was accused of a campaign to undermine British democracy and British elections. I wonder whether, beyond the Wagner Group itself, how much we actually know today about the extent of the Kremlin's influence in the UK.
Yeah, and that remains to be seen. Of course, you had the Defence Intelligence and Security Committee report back, I think it was about 18 months ago, saying that the threat from Russia had been completely misunderstood and hadn't even been resourced against to develop an understanding. It was that bad. So that was their critical analysis of the situation. I think it's probably more underhand in terms of internal security now and the threat, but that threat is evolving. We saw recently in its open source reporting that some highly sensitive sites in the UK were subject to a hack. It was released in the papers on Sunday, I believe. So there's certainly that area of constant competition is ongoing, and especially in the cyber domain, Russia remains very active.
Really interesting analysis. Thanks very much indeed. Patrick Berry talking to us there from the University of Bath in the UK. Thank you, sir.
No problem.